Our meeting to order for the Pickleball Advisory Committee, August 12th, 2024. We've got, you want to introduce yourself and people that are here? We'll start with Julie.
Yes, I'm Julie Peterson. I'm the Special Services Supervisor at Chehalis Park and Rec.
Linda Sandberg, Advisory Committee Member.
Mike Kringland, Chair.
Lance Trantham, member.
And Cheryl Greiner, Pickleball Advisory Member.
And Nick Tonin via Zoom, Secretary of the Advisory Committee.
Great. I talked to Gail, I texted her the other day, and the reason she's not here tonight is her daughter's off to college tonight, so it's the last family night. But I encouraged her to watch the replay since we've got a lot of news tonight. So we've done the first two things, the minutes for 2/5.
Yes, unless anyone has any comments on changing anything in the minutes, I motion to approve the minutes from 2/5.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Barring none, all in favor, say aye of those minutes.
Aye.
Aye. All, any opposed? It passed. So next on there, we have review of committee-related happenings since March of 2024. I don't know if anybody has anything they want to say at this juncture.
Yeah, I can speak a little to that. I was hoping to just kind of get everybody on the same page. We haven't met, obviously, since February. So just to kind of get everyone on the same page, and as ideally the whole goal of this meeting, you know, I don't think there's anything super pressing to talk about, but it has been a while since we've met. So just thinking back in February, we met, and then that was when we all kind of looked over that map of Jakewith I put together where 6 courts could go and how they could map it. And then in March is when we presented that to the board, along with kind of our list of what we found to be important when it comes to this project. And then, after that was we attended another CPRD board of directors meeting. Cheryl and I were there, and I spoke just kind of about the happenings of what's been going on with Newburgh pickleball in general, some numbers related to court usage and things like that, to hopefully just show that, you know, these courts are being used quite a bit, and it's a very active community that's bringing in people of all generations, all ages, and just how beneficial some covered courts would be, especially in the winter. And then since then, the approval of the $750,000 budget did go through in late June, early July.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, kind of where we're at.
I was over the park this morning. I was over at the park this morning, and there were one person doing some coaching at the far court. There was a family that were playing and practicing by themselves with their own nets. And then the Newburgh Pickleball Group and Club had 6 or 7 courts, I think, taken. And
Nice.
lots of people coming and going.
Yeah, I love it. And I think there was an event this weekend, right?
Yep,
Yes.
What was that event?
I did not participate.
It was
Interclub.
interclub with Willamette River Pickleball Club from West Lynn. It's a lot of fun. Good event.
This is our second one. We had one against McMinnville a month ago. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's, I think, this weekend is our last sort of formal event that's on the schedule for this summer. It's hosted by the Newburgh Pickleball Club. Probably in September, we will do a season end sort of party event with everyone in the club. But those are the last organized events that we have of the summer. But yeah, on any given night, Lance, to kind of follow up what you're saying, I've been out drilling on some random Monday, Tuesday nights, and it's really crazy to see just how full those courts get of people that, you know, families coming out, George Fox students coming out, bringing their own nets, and I've been pleasantly surprised to see that, and feel very lucky that we have the amount of courts that we do to allow for that.
Nick, did you see that email that I forwarded to you that George Fox is going to be using the courts?
I did,
Okay.
yes. I did. I was going to let we've got a pickleball club meeting tomorrow and let everyone know that. And that's great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, perfect. That's why I forwarded it to you. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Thank you for that. So yeah, any other happenings that have gone on related to this committee in the last few months, and even Julie, I know you've been at all the board of directors meetings, and I know you hear some stuff on your end. Any happenings related to this committee since it has been so long since we've gotten together?
Yeah, I've got quite
go
a bit.
ahead.
I got quite a bit to report. I met. I texted Superintendent Dawn just recently about. I said, "Hey, I'm back in town. This and that. I'd like to get an update." And I asked him if he could put it on the schedule. He texts back, says, "Come in at 10:30." The day I asked. So that was on August 8th, and it's a really good. It was a really good meeting. I saw Casey when I came in the office here, but I asked if he'd be able to join us. He was not able because he's more involved in the golf course
Right.
operations, quite swamped. So Superintendent Don is going to personally oversee the Jaquith project going forward. And I'd asked them if they were going to hire somebody for a project or whatever, but because evidently you lost somebody a while back, and he said they plan to proceed with the current staff. I took notes here, and I'll send them to you so you don't have to write this down. I understand from Don that adding government workers is more difficult because you can't, during a slowdown or something, it's hard to get rid of them. You got more flexibility in the private sector. But anyway, this is what I learned concerning pickleball plans. On the 8th, he says he plans to meet with WH Pacific soon to work on the drawings. At the end of the meeting, Don said he would invite me to join the meeting, and I asked if another member of our committee could join too, if, to have more representatives from our advisory committee. He has no problem, he said, with our input on the court spacing, et cetera. So he's welcomed us to the meeting, which, by the way, I just learned recently is 2 p.m. tomorrow. And didn't I send you guys a text or an email that asked you if you could attend the meeting on tomorrow at 2? Because I recall some of you said no, or
I couldn't.
You sent a text to Cheryl and I, Mike.
I was involved. I got a text. I said I couldn't.
But I was on
Yeah.
a group text with Cheryl and you, Mike. And I can't.
I did not get that text.
Well, anyway, this is a desired timeline is to put the expansion bid out by the end of this year or early 2025. Then there's a goal, Don said, to redo the existing courts, add new courts next spring, with a goal to finish in the summer of 2025. That's for resurfacing the courts and the 6 new courts.
Can I ask a question?
You can.
Is that resurfacing the top of the existing, or I was confused a while back when that came out. Are they taking out all the concrete, the pavement?
I think they're going to take it all
They're
out
right.
and completely redo that.
That's what I thought.
So
Yeah.
from the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure, resurfacing or redoing the whole thing.
Redoing. the
Right,
whole
because
Yeah.
a couple, well, I shouldn't say a couple, it's been quite a while now, but when Jim McMaster was here, he resurfaced,
Oh.
and that hasn't lasted very long. And
Oh.
I don't think he thought it was going to. So they're going to completely redo the surface. And from what I understand, and Mike, you can expand upon this, but Dawn said they're going to have 2 dedicated tennis courts, and then the other 2 tennis courts are going to be pickleball courts where they are now, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to have 6 additional courts.
They're all dedicated.
They're dedicated with a cover and
Well,
potentially shades.
So the continuing on, so in this fiscal year, our goal is to have all the courts ready. In the 25-26 budget, Don said there'll be funds for a pole barn with lighting. I mentioned the concern about wind and water, especially in the winter months, so that's one of the things we're gonna talk about tomorrow afternoon at 2
Right.
with the designer. Because I mean, there's things like roll-up curtains and various options. I don't know what's gonna make sense, but we have to be aware of the people that, homeless people, so they can see them.
The homeless people will go wherever they can, and CPRD does a great job at mitigating that, and I don't think it should be a concern. But is the covering part of the $750,000
No,
budget?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Okay, so it's just courts,
Just courts,
proper courts.
yeah, so we'd have six more courts. Actually, we'd have 10 dedicated pickleball courts, and there's still 2 tennis courts.
Yeah.
So anyway, because like I said, they're going to put in the following year the budget for the actual pole barn and the lighting. One of the things we want to talk to them about, which we've discussed, was a waiting area. So I don't know if we can tonight come up with a suggested size for a waiting area that could be adjacent to the new courts. And then we talked at one time about possibly raising funds for benches and a paddle station. Remember that? We talked about that as we're gonna try to do that.
If I can make it tomorrow, I'll be there. But one option would be, you know, depending on where the courts are gonna start and where they're going to end, there's that basketball court area. If there's a way to be able to utilize that,
Yeah.
because all you've got to do is maybe make a path from, maybe take a wall down or make a door or something where, because that's a really nice covered area that could be utilized for a waiting area when it's cold. I think there's
But
benches
we
in
gotta
there.
be careful about not taking away other
Basketball,
recreation.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Can't completely take over the park.
I
Why-
think probably when we get there, Mike, I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when we get there and actually see the lay of the land, I think we can probably, make
Yeah, more
some
informed.
ideas.
So one of the things, Nick and the group, I told them we need sufficient space between the courts, because we're gonna have 6 parallel courts. And there's a lot of problems with balls going from court 1 to court 3 or whatever. So I don't know whether we wanna suggest curtains or whether a 3-foot fence or what you guys think.
I really
Would be
think
good.
that we should use, Lance has played there, Cheryl has played there, I've played there. It's just using, at Sun River, it's just using the 3-foot fencing to go around the dedicated courts, all of them, so they're all fenced. And you've got, all that you do, the front group moves to the back when the back group comes off, and it works slick. And then to the point of the waiting area, they have probably a 15-foot apron off the courts, and that's where we all hang out, and there's benches, and it works out great.
These would be single courts,
Side by
so we
side.
won't have that
Oh.
double back.
But if there's fenced in the back, and it's fenced with a 3-foot fence in
Between.
between each court, you're only talking 8 fences. And then I think, so just at Sun River, I think they have like a plastic cover on the top so that people, if they run into it, it doesn't
Yeah,
Oh,
So the pole is
covered.
covered.
yeah.
so
Well, my
it-
hope too is that the contractors, I mean, my guess is they've done a million of these in the last couple years. So my thought is they will have some good suggestions too as to what they've used,
So I got a question, and what I was thinking about is, let's say that they go with a 3-foot fence aside each one. Do we need, so I'm hoping that we have at least 6 feet between the end of the the court line and the net, so you can do around the posts, et cetera, et cetera. Because
Yeah,
otherwise,
with the dimensions that they propose, the 180 by 60, it should
There's
be.
plenty of room.
Yes,
Should-
yeah.
should be okay.
I've got the map, here, I'm gonna try and share my screen here. Hold up.
It'd be nice to have the back fence, like 6 feet tall or a little
Taller.
longer, so you're not having to,
Face balls.
yep.
I think it would be nice to have that back fence the same height
Same
that
height
it
as,
is with the tennis court, because we rarely lose a ball over the,
I think the
Okay.
the tennis, yeah, if the outside was enclosed like the tennis court, I would also recommend 3 gates so that people can walk in, go to either court, they're not walking behind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I like that.
So
And-
what,
Are you able to see the screen
what I was envisioning that maybe, I thought they were saying is that top area would be like the pole barn would have a wall coming down certain distance, and we could have the curtains on the very back. So we'd have the area where we're worried about the wind and the rain. I thought that was 2 sides that we were most concerned about.
The left side and the back side is gonna be where the rain comes from.
Okay.
But I know that when we talked to Casey, he said they have to have a sight line through, so a wall, a curtain is different than a wall, but a wall is probably not.
Well, like if we have if it's a pole barn, and you know pole barns pretty well, would it have come down from the top a little ways? Then we'd have the curtains to pull down when it's, the wind and the rain's real bad. That's what we'll talk to
Yeah,
the
that's-
engineer about tomorrow.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was really quite impressed that it was a day or two after I asked if we could participate in with the drawings people at WH Pacific, I get a text, hey, tomorrow at 2.
So, I just want to clarify, we have 6 courts, and that this part of the project will be done hopefully spring of 2025.
Summer. I
Weather
think.
dependent.
Spring, yeah, I thought he said it
Summer.
would. If the goal to finish in the end of the summer.
End of
25.
summer, okay.
now? One, oh, go ahead, Cheryl, sorry.
And then the cover portion would be on the following year's budget.
When I talked to Don today, he mentioned phase 1, phase 2. So phase 1 would be the redoing the tennis courts now, and then completing the 6 courts, and then that would be phase 1, and then the second phase would be the lighting and the pole barn.
Okay.
Julie, are they going to light both the pickleball courts and the tennis courts?
That's a good question. I don't know.
And I'm just wondering.
That's a good question for me.
If they're going to put the utilities in, I mean, not just so that we have conduit, so we're not ODOT or the city of Beaverton
Tearing something up that you've already put in.
constantly.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good question, because out at the Darnell Wright Sports Complex, we have lights out there, and we have softball games going on the upper fields, and those people that live around that area are very used to it and know about it prior to moving in, essentially, but they are really good about calling us and telling us the lights are on. I don't think there's anybody around there that those lights would bother, but that is, something that we want to keep in mind, that we want to talk to the neighbors if we do, or if we are going to light both sides, to say this is going to be a little bit of a change. But I think it's just a church, and there's just a
It's a
couple
church,
houses.
there are some homes, but they're farther
They're set back,
away,
and
and
there's
there's trees in
lots of
Yeah,
between.
trees.
lots of big trees.
Most of the places I go and play pickleball, like this last week at Bend, or 2 weeks ago at Bend, the tournament's they're playing for gold at 10:15.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get the game in before the lights automatically shut off.
Yeah.
So most of the places I go, it's like 10 o'clock, they're done. They automatically
Yeah.
can't stay on all night.
that's our, so that will be a little change for us at Jakewood Park too, because really, we want all people out of there at dusk. That's, the police are known to go through the parks, and dawn to dusk is basically what we say. So this will be a little bit different for Jakewood Park. We'll have to have different signage up, but at the ball fields in the city of Newburgh, it's quiet hours essentially from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's it. Nothing after that. So those lights will be off at 10 for sure. Automatic.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Totally appropriate.
One suggestion, just along the lines, not of lighting, but what you were saying earlier, Mike, that if you or someone, I think, should bring up to Dawn, I think what would be really smart in this whole phase thing is in the spring to start the 6 pickleball courts, because in the spring, the tennis courts are going to be being used by high school tennis. Like, they can't redo the courts in the spring, I assume, because
Correct.
Newburgh High School Tennis uses that. And so I think, logically, to start the 6 courts in the spring, then by the time they're done, you'll have 6 dedicated pickleball courts for, the whole Newburgh community, and then start the tennis courts once tennis season is done. Just a suggestion.
Right.
Which is May,
You were bringing
mid-May.
up,
Yeah.
because then you'll, ideally, if the timing works out, we will never be without pickleball courts. And so, like we've all said, the courts get used heavily, so I think that would be worth it to try and make that work.
Right.
So my other question about the so the 2, I'm assuming the far 2 tennis courts would be designated tennis courts, never lined for pickleball, is that
no,
correct?
but
Are they,
excuse me, we can use them for pickleball if it's not being used by tenants, so we'd have to be portable nets, but the rest, my understanding is, would be permanent nets.
so that decreases the number of tennis nets
Yes.
for the high school.
Yeah, it does. Dawn's gonna have to have a conversation
Yeah.
with
Okay.
whoever the superintendent's going to be.
I got a little more information too that you might
Oh,
find.
go ahead.
So there'll be a phase 3 too eventually. That's the parking addition that we talked about. So that's a little, I don't have much to share on that, but to address the tennis question, they're going to redo in the near future the tennis court at Rennie Field. Plus, they're going to add separate pickleball courts there. The location is Blaine and Edward Streets. And I recommended to Don we get Jakewood done first, so I think hopefully that'll
Yes.
occur.
Now, is that complex has its own budget? So it's,
Rennie?
Yes,
yeah, so
yes.
it's all, is the chaos with school budget, that will have no effect, correct?
Correct. And I don't know if I'm going to just say now, I think that's fine. But the school district, the money is actually not from the school district, but it was given to them. It's a grant essentially. $750,000. The park district is putting in over $1 million. And then we just put in for $1 million grant, also from the Oregon Department of Recreation, and we got it.
Great.
Yay,
So-
for the Rennie project.
That's
Cool.
great.
So that'd be great. So that will
How many
allow,
pickleball courts are going there?
2.
You know, 2, and,
Yeah.
and how many tennis courts?
I don't know yet. That's a really good question. We were so excited. We just found out about it last week. So that is going to allow us to, the most expensive part of all of that, besides the turf field, are the bathrooms.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So the bathrooms are very, very expensive. So that's going to allow us, obviously they're ADA, and it's going to be really a cool place. So we're
So it'll
excited
be
about it.
similar to the new rest area they put in Dundee, those really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be very, very nice. So that's great. So we're excited about that.
What I don't
Very
know
cool.
is whether, because they're going to redo eventually the bathrooms at Jakewood too. But
Refresh.
that's the word.
Yeah, I think that's one of the top. Is it one of the top 3 projects? I don't know. I'll ask. That's a good question to ask the board. Actually, at the meeting on Thursday, I'm not sure.
So Nick, did you hear that?
Yep.
So you're going to represent us on Thursday?
Yeah, if you want, it's Thursday the 22nd, and yeah, I'm available.
Oh,
It's not this
It's not
Thursday, it's
this
next
Thursday.
Thursday.
I thought you said it was next Thursday, but it's the 22nd.
22nd.
Right.
Okay.
But yes, I am available if you guys would like, yeah.
Well, go ahead. I'll get a copy of my notes to you, Mr. Secretary.
We will have more information.
Yeah,
after
and
our-
hopefully tomorrow we'll have more to report, yeah.
Right.
That's the 22nd.
Is there anything else to talk about our plan of action, goals? I think we've got a lot going now. Got some, and we got some inertia.
Because we're
Yes.
meeting tomorrow, I've never had to get water at Jakewith. Is there water in the pavilion? Is there any water besides in the bathroom at Jakewith?
There's a water fountain
Where is it?
between the gate that we go in and the pavilion, the big pavilion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of places have a drinking fountain and a
Water bottle.
water,
station.
like a push, because it's so hard to get. And
I know you're.
when I look over there, I'm playing pickleball the other day, and I look over and there's like some girl had her dog up there.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
Is that right?
Come on.
Oh
yeah.
my
I
God.
was at a park that had a dedicated little
Doggy.
fountain for dogs. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, oh yeah, below, like
Mhm.
it's like above and below. That would be something maybe that would be a suggestion if we're gonna do Jake with.
I put water drinking fountains just with the increase.
Yeah, that's a great idea. If they're going to do it, and you're gonna have, that's a good suggestion.
And you know, that's
I'll
one
make
of those things that, you get a price and you write a grant for it. I mean, a small little thing, like that, that would be a great brick and mortar for a community group to do.
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, I mean, if you hear of any grants that are available, let me know. Because I'd be happy to fill one out for the district.
Is that meeting next Thursday at 7?
What
No.
meeting is that?
Yes.
Board meeting?
Board meeting?
Yes.
Seven?
So it's the fourth Thursday of every month.
22nd.
At 7.
6.
Six.
Six.
I was just gonna say, it's earlier than 7.
And so specifically, since I've got y'all here, is there anything, I guess the main things I'll talk about is kind of do a recap of this meeting, of the things that I think are pertinent, and then maybe a little recap of your meeting with Dawn tomorrow, Mike. Anything else you guys would like me to bring up?
Yes,
while I speak?
yes, I do. So, I was at the car show in Newburgh recently at the fair, and I bumped into Matt, the chairman, and we're chatting a little bit, and he asked me something about pickleball, and he's interested in learning how to play pickleball. So I said, maybe what we need to do is to find out if other board members and staff members would be interested in getting together, and maybe we can help teach. And I talked to Gail, and she's interested too. So I think,
And I think Julie is.
Julia is.
Yeah,
We've talked-
Julie is. You
We-
know what we could do? We could host like a CPRD staff,
Let's do it.
Staff and board.
We need
staff.
to do it before we get to the rating season.
Function.
Yeah, we need to do it, get it
Yeah.
on the calendar soon.
Yeah. That'd be great.
so,
So maybe we could.
Did extend the invite to all of them to our beginner clinic, but they didn't show.
well,
Yeah.
I think if we can
They
get,
want their own private one.
they want, yeah, that's it.
Well, I think
I
we
think
could
they-
take care of all of them. Julie, let's get that scheduled.
Okay.
So can you check and see if there's some possible dates that would interest
Yeah.
and
Well, let's throw it out at the,
at the meeting on the
Nick,
22nd?
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
try to get
I'll do.
that.
Okay.
I nominate
Done.
Nick to be in charge of it.
He does a great job.
Does
with
a great
those
job
beginner
with those.
groups.
Well, and Nick, I could even host, beverages, appropriate beverages and, snacks or something fun. I mean, let's make it fun.
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, have it.
So
Fun.
what I would like you to do, I told Matt, I says, before you come, I want you to know the rules and how to score. Because it's really difficult to learn the game.
Yeah.
Oh, he
As
has he'll convert, I think, pretty easy. He played tennis.
Yeah.
There is an app called FYI Pickleball,
Oh, is that right?
Really?
and it has,
Ooh.
and it's pretty layman's terms, so, you know, it's gonna pull mine up.
That's a prerequisite for the class.
It'll go a lot faster if you do this.
Yeah, I like that, Cheryl.
Yeah, Pickleball FYI, sorry.
Oh, it's
It's
pickleball.
Pickleball FYI.
I'll look
And
it
it
up.
has the rules, it has frequently asked questions,
Oh, that's great.
it has etiquette, it has drills, it has, you know, what the dimensions of the court and that kind of stuff. Apparel, like court shoes. Yep, that's it.
So why don't we get that posted on the Newburgh Pickleball Club site, if it's not there?
This
Yeah,
particular,
I like that.
I have mentioned this at our meetings before, our event meetings, I've mentioned it. I was in Seaside and they had it on their, like where you sign up to play. And I wasn't really sure if it was kept up to date in terms of the rules, but I was digging around in there the other day and they have the new rule about the draping nets. So I thought, okay, they've updated it this year.
What's the new rule about the draping net?
It's a redo. It doesn't affect us, so it's,
Yeah, that is nice. I'll put a link on our website to it. That's really cool. I like that.
Any other comments?
I'm excited. Tomorrow will be
It
fun.
It just keeps growing and growing. It's making
Yeah.
it into TV commercials. I
Yep.
was watching some medical
Oh.
commercial the other day and I was like, it's been
Yeah, that's right. I have seen
those
a
little
few.
babies.
Yeah,
growing.
that was my favorite. The little kids beating the
Did,
big kids.
oh,
We get schooled.
sometime ask Theodore if you can,
Oh,
oh, no, I guess my littles, they have these little pickleball rackets that are about this big. Theodore's is more of a kid's racket, but I thought, why even bother with that? But
they also have half nets for small kids,
Oh, cool.
so they're
Oh.
shorter.
At our Newburgh Old Fashioned Festival race walk, a couple months ago, or weeks ago, I should say, I gave out for the raffle 2 pickleball paddles and some balls. I
Nice.
thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I also saw this TikTok the other day, and they were talking to the son of the people that started pickleball. Have you guys seen that?
In Bainbridge Island, no.
And he was talking about how the name actually, he's like, oh yeah, everybody thought it was the dog and then all these things, but he said actually it was, his mother was a big fan of rowing, and that a pickleball in rowing and boating is kind of, they have a boat that they call the pickleball, and it had something to do with a little bit of everything. So you have the like the A boat, the B boat, and then you have the pickle boat, basically. And that the pickle boat is just everything, like all the rowers together. And so not the best, not the worst, but just everything. And so her thought was pickleball is a lot of different sports put together, and so she called it pickleball. And I'd never heard that.
I didn't either.
Because people ask me that all the time. Like, where does that come from? Because it's so unique.
yeah, I thought it was the dog.
And it was, yeah.
Yeah, that, I'd heard that story of the dog was
Yeah. I
not
heard that.
necessarily
True.
true.
But it was the pickle boat, essentially. And then she just called it pickleball.
Once,
That's
I've had a couple
interesting.
times recently where I've like somebody's like, "What's pickleball?" and said it's one of the easiest games to learn, and one of the hardest games to master. Just no matter how good you are, there are people out there that are better, and you always have somewhere to go. There's a
Yeah.
level to go up to.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good.
The thing I like about it is it can be, a lot of people go for the social aspect, A lot of people I've met, I've introduced a few people, like at our church, et cetera, to pickleball. They're just happy to play at a very low level, so you don't have to be competitive like a lot of us who want to go to a higher level, because it can fit a bunch of people, whatever mode they're in.
It's
Yeah.
accessible. It is accessible.
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
lot.
And it's intergenerational, that's my favorite
Yep.
thing.
Yeah, I love that part too.
Women can play against
And
men just
compete
fine.
competitively.
Yeah.
Very well.
I always love it when there's two gals and two guys and the girls win.
I heard Melody's playing.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's great.
She's
She's a
powerhouse.
Yeah.
She has, she's lapping
athlete.
it up.
Really?
Melody McMasters.
Since when?
Oh, I don't know if I met her, but.
Yeah, she's a good athlete.
So Nick, anything else?
I think that should be good for now. I think your meeting with Don will be really good tomorrow. And so who else thinks they can make it tomorrow, just so we kind of have an idea?
I will be there.
I'll be there too.
I'll be there as soon
Linda, are
as,
you available?
I get out of the,
And are you available?
Yes.
Procedure
Yes, I'm
at-
yeah.
my doctor's, the hospital nurse. Anyway, we'll be there, and maybe we can take, would you mind taking some notes, because you'll be there before me? Like I said, we want to discuss, I want to clarify whether it's sides, if for the pole barn, for future design. Because if they're going to design it, I assume they're going to design the whole thing nice, so. If we have any other thoughts, I guess we'll discuss it tomorrow. And our next meeting is, I think you said, is the September 9th. So unless there's anything else, I suggest we adjourn the meeting.
Thanks, Nick. See ya.
Yes, thank you. I
Nick.
I second that.
You second the motion, eh?
Yes.
We're all in favor.
I.
So email me the notes from tomorrow.
Okay, you got it.
I'm not available September 9th.